Can you confirm that you see my screen?
Yeah, Master Jamal, we see it clearly.
Thank you.
Yes, Jamal is clear for slides.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this session was
And the session, sorry, and the session, the last 20 minutes, then we can open discussion for the questions and some comments and then closing the session. Yeah.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will start with the presentation first, and then we will show a little practical session on how to start product development, and then we will come back to the questions later. So because we do not have a lot of time, I think we will start right now. So thank you. This session is about product development and user testing. We will start. So in this session, we will learn identifying our product. So first, what do we want to develop? What product do we need to build? And then once we identify it, then we will start brainstorming on how we will see how to brainstorm for product development and gathering ideas and then producing results from these ideas. And then we'll proceed to prototyping. So building basic prototype that shows how the final product will or may look like. And then we will proceed to show, not practically, but just to overview how developing this product, where do we go from prototyping, for example, so the development phase. And then finally, we will see how the product can be tested using real users, either from your team members or from your potential customers or clients. And so first, let's see how do we identify a product. So if I want to develop a product and I have an idea, then how can I take it from an idea to a final working product or a prototype? What are we do? How do we approach this, for example? So let's start. What are the current challenges? We have to answer the questions first. So what challenges are we going to address? And how is this useful, or how this product will address the existing challenges? So in accordance with the current theme of this year, which is addressing the access to justice in the people who are seeking family-related justice. How can this product help them? What are the current challenges that prevent the public from accessing justice, for example? Are the courts far away from their location? Or people are unfamiliar to approach the courts or justice system, or maybe there are no courts in their area, so they have to travel to faraway locations. So for example, people in a small settlement in the center of Somalia, as usual, the courts usually are in the main districts or the head of the region. For example, if I am in Mogadishu, I can access the court, but if you are far away, like in Johor, for example, or in the nearby villages, then it's difficult for the people. So technology comes in this area. That's where it can help people access justice. So not only courts, but also the legal system. For example, getting access to legal systems. Yeah. So that's the first question that it can answer. And the second question is in relation to this year's theme around developing family. Can we turn off our mic? Thank you. So in relation to this year's theme around developing family justice solutions using technology, What can we do about enabling access to justice for all people, regardless of their location or of the gender, or let's say the status, either they are from low income or high income. So how can we use technology to enable access for these people? Using the new technology solutions such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, Web3, and so on, as well as the traditional technologies such as the internet, because everybody doesn't have access to the new technologies, like there are high-end solution technologies that have artificial intelligence, for example. But in most of the areas, or can I safely say 50% of the 50% of the areas in these days have access to internet. So how can we take advantage of this? So if you can answer these questions and can find a solution, that solution is your product. But how can you proceed from an idea and that solution to access to justice is the technology? It's an idea, but how can you transition from this phase that has to building actual and existing product? So before we proceed to building the product, we have to have clear ideas of what we want to build. And that's where brainstorming comes in. So brainstorming, according to the dictionary, is group discussion to produce ideas or solving problems. So we have problem, and the problem we have is just the lack of the challenges people face to access justice. That's the problem. And solving this problem evolves around technology. And to solve this problem, we can gather our team and then ask them to bring ideas to the table. And that's where brainstorming comes. So the brainstorming, I've made sample brainstorming here, but the team can contribute in other ideas because these are just the basics. But so if you have like 10 to 15 people in your team, then everybody has an idea. And once they contribute in their ideas, they put their ideas on the table, then they contribute to the brainstorming session. And brainstorming loop is like this. So justice, that's what we want to enable. So it's the justice, so it stays in the middle. And then I had 6 ideas. And how do we improve justice or access to justice? Then the ideas are making it accessible, making it efficient, making it transparent, making it effective. So when it's the justice carried out, then it should be the final, and then it should be enforced, for example. That's where effectiveness comes. And makes it equal, so it gives equality to all people, regardless of social status or location or gender or beliefs, for example. And then it should be participative, for example. So participative and equality are loosely similar, but they are different. So justice should be participated by all people, for example. So these are 6 ideas I've made. Accessibility is either making the justice system available in every village, for example, but it also can mean using technology to map people and the justice providers, for example, legal aid providers, legal assistants, paralegals, courts, and so on. And the efficiency is also the technology, so making it easy for people to reach out in the justice providers. And in the end of the session, maybe we can, if we have time, we can ask, we can like add more ideas to this brainstorming session. But for now, I will leave it here. But if you have 1 or 2 questions, then you can ask. All right, no questions. So from our brainstorming session, we identified the needs. And now the product we want to build is now clear. Yes, so we know what we want to build. We want to build a product that makes it easy for people to access justice. So how do we approach this? In this session, we will develop a product that will help people with economic or other needs access legal assistance. So that's basic product. Let's say the justice sector is big industry. There are a lot of fields involved in it. But if we want, we can. In reality, we cannot solve all the challenges that the justice system is facing, but we can solve like some areas, and hopefully other people can also solve other areas. So this is the starting point. So maybe in this session, we will see how we can develop an example product that gives people the chance to, or enables people to access legal assistance. So for example, in the GBV case, or GBV or family or divorce, for example, if somebody wants to reach out to a legal assistant, then the example product we want to build makes it easy for them, And in the next slide or two, we will build a prototype dashboard for capturing the information from those who need access to legal assistance. For example, so a product, what it will do is it's like an online questionnaire that asks people to submit like the legal issues, and then it will capture these issues, and then it will map the information with pool of available, let's say, paralegals or legal assistants. And then we will explore ways to test this example prototype with real users. So in reality, we do not have a lot of time to actually test this, but we will see how we can potentially test an application using the various available materials. And in the future, maybe in another session, also we will develop this further to be ready for most valuable product. So most valuable product is a product that doesn't have all the features, but it's a product that you can share with investors, for example, or potential users, and then they can test it out and see how it can help or how it can support real people. And also, it supports the team that develops the product to monetize it, for example, because in reality, nothing in life is free. So prototyping. For the prototyping of this application, we will use Figma to prototype our dashboard product. And Figma, it has this logo you see here. It's free software. It's not free actually, but it's free for entrepreneurs and small startups. And so basically, it's free to our team. We do not have to pay for it, and it's good because as maybe you have seen in the previous session, and people can, in the age of internet, we can start a new business, for example, from 0 to 100% with zero budget. So when I say zero budget, is just the tools are available to start business these days. It's being enabled by the technology, in particular the internet. Yep. So we will use Figma to build a small prototype of our application. So maybe we do not have a lot of time. We have less than an hour. I will show how to use this tool first, and then I will show a dashboard that I've rebuilt, so we can all see how the final product might look like. And the prototyping, before we can proceed to Figma, is not only you do not need, for example, a tool. For example, you can use normal pen and paper to prototype for an application, as you can see here. But because we are accessing this session from different locations, I think the online application is the best suited method of prototyping our product. So I will stop this screen, and then I will go to the Figma application. I will open it, and then we will start proceeding from there. So be with me when I stop sharing. Can you see my screen?
Hello. No, you can't see the screen.
Can you? All right. So let me share it again. What about no?
Yes.
Don't have.
Yeah, you can see this black screen, right?
Yeah, but it's blank.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the Figma application. It is used to prototype products. So mostly technology products, but other products, but it's for building digital products like websites, mobile applications, and so on, even wearable products, for example, so watches and like this. And it can be accessed from this URL. So if you can see it, it's www.figma.com. It's owned by a company called Adobe, which bought it for more than $20 billion a few months ago. But at the same time, it's freely accessible to us, me and you and other people in this session. And it's free for us, and for larger teams, it's for they can pay for it. But for smaller teams that contain like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 team members, then it's free for them. So I will start with prototyping. So as we have seen in the previous slide, the prototyping is just drawing or maybe making a wireframe of your application or product that you can show to potential investors, for example, to explain to them how it works, or how people can use it, or how it can solve existing problems. So that's what prototyping is. And this application doesn't have, you do not have to like learn or become expert in ICT to use this application. It's easy to use, and we will see it from this session. So let's start. So before I start, and for a quick recap, we said that we are going to build a little dashboard that captures information from people in remote areas and people who are seeking for access to justice. And then we can capture this information and then map these people with a pool of existing paralegalists and other legal service providers, for example, lawyers, for example. But because there are not a lot of lawyers, let's say people who have legal background who can support these people. So I think you understand what I mean. And so let's start with, let's say it's web-based, but it can be converted to any platform like a mobile app or tablet app or whatever people can use to access the internet. But I think the web is the most popular way people can to access the internet. So I will start with screen. Here in the left, you can see prototype. So that's what I was talking about. And here you see design. So when I say design, you can see you can start designing and set for several platforms like phone, tablet, desktop, or presentation, or watch, or paper. So let's start with desktop, of course, because right now all of us are using desktops, and it's the easiest way to make a product. I will start with desktop, then I will click here. So you can see that. Let me go back. I go to design, and then I choose, for example, desktop. So here it gives me the size of desktop. If you look here, it's 1,440 pixels wide and 1,024 pixels high. So that's the regular desktop size. And then what do we want to build? We said we want to build a prototype or product that captures information. So in order to capture information, what do we need? For example, we need forms, right? To build a questionnaire. So that's where we will start. This is my product. It doesn't have any forms right now, but that's where I will start, and then we'll create the forms. So we will start with simple questions. The first question will be, any form field. So this is the form field here where people put their name, for example. Maybe application has name, product has name. So the name could be legal aid. We can call it, and we can say it's called legal aid. Right now we do not have a logo, but also you can use this very software to create your logo too. Once you maybe do the brainstorming session and then identify what type of logo you need, then you can open the system and then create your logo. So for now, I will use this. It's called, application is called legal aid. Maybe let me make the size of this font bigger. So let's say it's 30. So we can all see. You can drag it anywhere by taking it with your arrow. And here in the left, you can see, you can change the text here. For example, font size, anything. So let me say my font size, the font type is called Inter. So these are the fonts that exist within this software. You can choose from here any font you want, but I chose this because it's clean and also crisp. Then you can maybe make it colorful, color. So that's where, here is where you change the color, for example. So let's say my application, this color, let's say it's green because green makes positive, right? So let's say it's green. And here you can add little description of this, what people want to do. So for example, you can give them a little hint of what they should do once they open your product. So for example, you can say, you can read any language, by the way, either Somali or English or Swahili or whatever language that audience has. But in real life application, you can also make it multilingual so people can switch the language to the language they want. So for example, in the case of Somalia and Somaliland, people speak in Maha, and then also people speak dialects like mine. So maybe you can make it, to make it accessible to everyone, then you can make it multilingual, for example. Yeah. So let's go and say you can so that's what people will see. So make it the text and clear so people can read it, because right now it's not readable. To make it readable, I have to make the line height bigger here. So that's where I changed it, make it 20. So people can see, and they make it smaller because it's as big as our title. So make it maybe 18, 16. Oh, here is where I changed it. So make it 16. And then here, leave it to become automatic, or maybe make it 10, I think. That's fine. So this is my application, and here I will build the forms that people use to submit a legal support request. So you can add as many fields as possible for a real world product, but for now we will just we will ask them their name and so on. It's a very small information. So name. And then they will use this input form to put their name. So right now it's not working because it's not real application, it's prototype. But you see what I mean. And then you can ask them to copy this and the best. So you see here in the left, you can see groups. So groups are the field. Let me call this field. So this is the input form input, where people can type in their name, for example. And here is the label that I have. So right now I have the name here, and I have the field that they were supposed to put their name is here too. You can change the colors, as I said. So maybe make it white and then make it black border. So it looks like a font. This one looks like font. So make it, you can make the border thicker here. You see, let me delete this. And then because I have already created the first input form input, I can duplicate this one and then I can change the name. For example, it has this one was the full name. Maybe here we can ask people to put in their phone number too. And then in the next one, we can ask them to, I duplicated it. You can go here and then say copy and then paste. So that's how you duplicate a form field. So you see, you can then ask them maybe their age, for example. And then maybe the age can be a drop down. So why not make it an arrowhead? So indicate that the person, when they click here, they can just age is from 90 to something there. And the drop down usually has an arrow that's pointing downwards. So this one is looking upwards. You can make it downwards by dragging it down here. And then maybe make the color black so you can see. And then you can go here and then select, let's say, select your age here. And you see we are building a product. So maybe that's all we want from this person, but we can add one more field and then ask them their case. So for example, it's GBV or divorce. So like, select a legal case. So you see maybe in real world application, you would want people to maybe first register, for example, so you can prevent a lot of people flooding the system. But for our prototype, you can see how you can build a small data collection form that your product will use to capture the information of the people you want to, your product supports. You can add as many screens as you want here. So for example, this is where people, when they open your products, when they come, and then maybe you have like a button here. So for example, because when we usually complete a questionnaire, we have to send it, right? So let's say you have this button here where people say they submitted it. So we use the color green for our product design logo here. So why not make it green here, the button too, and then let's see. So when people click this button, they submit this case. Now you see that how you can use this product, or call it Figma, to use your product, for example. So it helps you. What's this? Sorry. You can see use product like this to build your prototype application. It can be this example we are using, but it can also be anything that you want to develop. It could be mobile application, it could be web application, or even it could be like you can use your it to develop your brochures, for example. So any product that you want to promote, that's where it can. Next, because we do not have a lot of time, this is a showcase of how this program works, but let me show you a final dashboard that I have developed today. So we can see the power of prototyping and how we can use it to build a full product that we can show to our investors, for example, or potential clients. So we can see if it has a market. And here is page 2. But if we go to page 1, I hope you see my screen. I think this yellow thing is because we used this annotation that's available for Zoom. So sorry if you see this, I cannot relate it. So for example, this is the one I've shown you. So let's say the name we have chosen was legal. Because right now the background is green, and let me say, and it is, let me make this font cleaner, so we'll make it white. So yeah, you can see, and then we can see the number of like legal assistance being submitted to the system. So for example, 60 unresolved. Let's say that 60 people have submitted legal cases to our paralegal or legal assistance mapping tool. And these are not yet resolved. So unresolved means, so let me use a better language, maybe let me say unmapped. So this is not mapped with a legal assistant person. So these are outstanding tasks. And this is overdue, so people had like, these are deadlines, but they were not completed yet. And let me say this one is open cases. And this is on hold. So for example, if we in real life application or product, we would verify this request. So for example, somebody in, let's say Las Anod submitted a legal case assistance request. You can keep it on hold until you call the person because they submitted their phone as well, and then you listen to their needs, what they want. And while you are collecting this information in person and verifying this, you say this case is on hold. So support request is on hold. And if you see this, you can see that I have displayed a little chart that shows how you can, it's analytic. So this is dummy content. Let me say, as of November 2, 2022, this morning, we had like, this is the data we have in our system. So it's sample data, but just that it shows what you can, how you can use this prototyping tool. And here, for example, it's the sample data too. And here, let's say, so for example, you see that we can see the tasks here. So let's say the application also, product also allows your team to manage the tasks, outstanding tasks. So finish case update, for example, because there are cases that need follow up, and map case 1, 2, 3 to a legal assistant. So for example, that's what it can do. And update, so tickets and cases. So for example, when somebody submits assistance request, it becomes a ticket. So you see these support tickets that technologies use, technology-based solutions use. So for example, I have a request or I need assistance. I go to this product and then I submit a ticket that says, my name is XYZ, my telephone number is this, and I'm based in this area. I want legal assistance for this case. So this becomes a ticket. It enters your system, and then when it enters your system, somebody at the back office, maybe a clerk at your company or organization, captures this information and then calls this person and then verifies their information, and that's it. It's the normal ticketing, support ticket process. So maybe for a legal related system, we can say, instead of tickets, let me say cases, because I think it's linguistically better name. And ideas is where maybe your people, so these pages are not developed, they only develop the dashboard because we don't have a lot of time. Maybe ideas is where you collect ideas from people, for feedback from customers, for example. And here in the contacts are the people information you captured from your let me say, your customers or people who want support. And agents maybe the legal providers. So maybe let's say legal providers instead of agents. But this also includes other people who use your product to maybe your product as a multi-tenant system. It supports that. And many organizations use it to provide legal assistance to people. So that's why I say agents, but you can say, like you could say, an article is where people can go to see information about maybe general knowledge information, like how the justice system works, or how your product works, for example, how to seek help. So that's general support area, self-support, I would say. Maybe the product has a person logged in, and people who are not logged in cannot see this information. So if you have like a clerk or back office manager who just logs in the system and then clears the outstanding cases or maps cases to people, then maybe this person can log in with their username and password. And then at the top here, you can show their nice image. And then here you can see any notifications or people can search. So as you can see, this is not working product. If I click anywhere, it's not working. It's just prototype, as we say. And here in the prototype, you can see I showed you how to build a little prototype in this page. So you see this. I followed the same button to create this. So these are called cards. I can hide it and can show them. You can see this one is called overdue. And here in the left, you see I elaborate it as overdue. If you see, you can see it has an icon here. You can zoom it. So the icon is this hand. You can see I can hide it. So the icon was showing that people can click here, and then when I hover it, it becomes blue. That's why I was. But you can also change the colors here. You can say click here, and then go fill. The previous color we selected was green, so maybe make it green here, and then also the border. So go here, change the color, make it green. You see, this tool is easy to develop any prototype. This is a little overview. Maybe in the future we can have more time to develop a bigger platform that includes all these pages. And for example, then we can make it a working product that people can click and then submit the forms. But right now, the time constraint is limiting. So let's proceed to the next slide. But before I do so, if you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal. Any question or comment?
Khalid, can you hear me?
Yeah, Claire, Jamal.
Yeah,
Jamal,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Lecturer, thank you for your lecturing, but I feel a little bit fast. Please try to be slow, a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. I will try to be slow. Thank you. So any other question? All right, so no questions. So before proceeding to the next slide, yep, go on.
You can ask him the English or Somali.
I think
the question is, yeah. Not shining.
thank you so much, Dr. Jamal, for the session. And my question is, I have a comment, and it's concerned about all the, studies he shared was like production of like status. You can keep your documentation and you're helping, when you help or make assistance to the people, you give a legal aid. So I think if he can share with us the slides, we can better, make ourselves.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So Khalid and Julius will definitely share the slides and also the other assets we have shown here, as well as the links to this software has been using. So thank you. This will come to you soon.
Yeah, Jamal, there's something they're asking the chatting the slow, the more technical for developing the product, and the slow in the well understanding for the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll slow down a little bit. So
Okay.
thank you. So before proceeding to the next slide, I would like to make a quick recap of what we have seen. So we have seen how to identify a product, or let's say how to identify a problem that we want to address. So the problem we wanted to address was making it easy for people to get access to legal support. And to achieve this, we have to develop a product that maps people with legal assistance providers. So, for example, lawyers and paralegals and other types of legal aid providers. So there are organizations that also dedicate themselves to support people, or particularly women who have, or people who have domestic issues like divorce or GBV. And all of this, I think I'm from technical background, but I have also in the past worked with in this field. And so at that time, I've seen that there are a lot of organizations in Eastern Africa, whether it's Somalia or Kenya or Somaliland. So, but in reality, and the reality that's in the ground is there are many people who are not aware that legal aid is available to them. And that's how I came up with this idea. But also it was the theme of this program, right? To provide, to use technology to provide justice to all, and particularly family justice, just such as divorce and GBV and such related cases. So then we have seen the challenge, and then we have identified the problem, and then we said we will build a product that addresses this challenge, and then that's how we came here. And because the time was short, I took the time this morning to build this dashboard. And I think once we share with you the links to this platform, then you can use it, and maybe then you can also share with the people at Hill, to like Khalid, Julius, and me myself. So I'm not at Hill, but I'm just consulting them. So then we can see your product. So we are always available to you. And to recap here, we have seen how to build a very, very, very minimal product that's a form that's used to collect the information. And once you collect this information, it becomes a ticket. So I say the ticket comes here in this dashboard. And then a person in your office just opens the product, or let's say from now, when I say product or application or dashboard, it's the same. So it's a place where you collect information from this context. Thank you. Yeah, go on. All right, no problem. So then, as you have seen how I use it, this tool is on the right. So tool is on the right as just colors and fonts. For example, you can select from this area in the right. This area has several tabs, so design, prototyping, and then inspection. So we use it to design because the prototyping and design, it's the same, but this one is easier for people who are starting right now. And then you can use to change the colors, the borders, for example, the background color. And then in this area, you can create the different parts of your application. So for example, I added a logo, basic logo, which you can click and then maybe adjust, for example. And then here you can group your fields. So field, when I say field or panels or layers, it's the components that make an interface. So for example, user input field is a component. Let's say it's input, it's called. So call it input here. On the left, that's where your components are grouped. So you see this is grouped. This is the label for this form field. It shows full name. And here it's the input field. So that's where you capture the information where people type in their full name. So let me call it input. And likewise, you see it's the same here. So I have phone number here. It's another field. So let me call it input. And here it's the label. The label says phone number, right? And here you see input field. So it's called input. And you see I can hide this one and then show it. And I can click here. And then in the left, I can change the colors, the background. You see, I can play with it until like I'm happy with it. And then you can close one and close this one too. It's closable and it's enable here. So you can toggle it here. If you toggle it, it closes. If you toggle it, it opens. Another field is here. So I say this is the case. By the way, you can call it case. And then the label, for example, put it label, and then here it's the input. And here it's another field. I think H, yes. So call it H. And the H has label, which says H. And also it has input field, which has input. So this input, you can even add one more name because it's drop down. You can see people can click here so they can select their age from 18 to maybe the oldest person who can use the technologies, like say 80 for something or 100 maybe, because you cannot guess the age of the baby. All right, so you see that was quick recap. You can change any aspect here.
Thank you, Jamal. waxaad u samayn kartaa intan dambe inaad Soomaali ugu sharaxdo conceptka guud ee ay u isticmaalayaan systemkan insha Allah haddii la idhaahdo. Thank you so much, Jamal. Yeah. And well understand for the local language for Somali.
Okay. Si fiican. Marka intaanan si guud ugu gudbin slide-ka xiga, halkan waxaan ku aragnay barnaamijkan aan isticmaalay waxaa la dhahaa figma.com. waxaan ku sameeyey interface-kii productiga ama application-ka aan rabay inaan sameeyo, taasoo slide-yadii hore aan kusoo ogaaday inay jirto baahi loo qabo in dadku helaan inay meel ay kala xiriiri karaan adeega ama caawinta sharci, legal support, gacansiinta sharci, qofku tuulo jooga oo kale kasoo qaado, qofkii guriga jooga oo kale. Way sideen ognahay xaaladaha dhulka bariga Afrika ka jirta, ama Soomaaliya ha ahaato, Somaliland ha ahaato, Kenya laftigeeda ha ahaato, waxa weeye cilada weyn oo dadka ka hortaagan inay cadaaladda ay isticmaalaan waxa weeye kow horta cadaaladii aan gaarsiisnayn dadkii oo dhan, iyo laba waxay tahay dadkii oo hadday xataa meeshii joogaan ka jirto aan ogeyn sida cadaaladda loo raadsado. taas darteed waxaanu samayn karnaa barnaamij program application taas oo dadka ka caawinaysa inaanu cadaaladda ku xirno. sidee ugu xiraynaa? qofkii waxa weeye markuu u baahdo adeega cadaaladda wuxuu isticmaalayaa application-keena, maybe inaan ku xayeysiino baraha bulshada ama si kale, si dadka dhan aan u wada ogeysino inuu barnaamijkaas jiro. kadib markii qofkii cadaalad u baahdo wuxuu samaynayaa barnaamijkan wuu isticmaalayaa, wuu soo furanayaa. waxaanu siinaynaa questionnaire yar oo ah qofka meel xogtiisa asaasiga lagaga qabto sida da'diisa kayska haysto u baahan yahay in laga caawiyo magaciisa iyo meel lagala soo xiriiro meeshu joogo maybe magaalada uu degan yahay iyo bes marka horta inta qofkii ka qabatid waxay ku dhacaysaa dashboardka waxa weeye wax kale maahan waa xafiis digitaala weeye oo internet ku jira ama databases ka dhahba sida dadka badankoodu u yaqaanaan databaseka marka xogtaas kugu gasho qofka databaseka maamulaya ama dashboardka maamulaya furaya oo dabcan ah qof ka mid ah dadkeenan dhistay ama samaystay applicationkan qofkii wuxuu sameynayaa wuxuu arkaya kaysaska taagan wuxuu arki karaa kaysaska aan weli la xallin sugtii kale u bedelaya baa aragta kaysaska aan weli la xallin kuwa waqtigoodii dhaafay in mar hore la xaliya ahayd oo dad laysku xiro dadka u baahan caawimaynta iyo dadka caawin lahaa laysku xiri lahaa kuwa furan oo aan weli la xallin laakiin weli waqtiga u banaaya aan dhicin iyo kuwa on hold ku jira marka on hold kale ka socda sidii kale u bixin kartaa waxa weeye kaysaska u baahan in qofkii dabagal lagu sameeyo kayska soo dirsaday la waco la wareysto xaaladda u baahan yahay ku sugan yahay information yar laga qaado sidaas iyo halkan oo kale ay natusiiso dashboardka inuu natusiiso statistics xogta aanu qabanay waqtiga intaas leeg ka soo qaada kale maanta intaan qabanay shalay intaan qabanay dhaqo kale halkan saacadihii baa noogu qoran sidoo kale waxaan ka dhigi karnaa bilihii baa laga dhigi karaa kale hadba sidii aad adigu xogtaadu u badan tahay halkan kuwa la xaliyey kuwa la qabtay aan weli la xallin kuwa hadda laga jawaabayo kuwa aan waqtiga ay ku qaadato kan waxa weeye waqtiga average-ka ay ku qaadato celcelis ahaan in loogu jawaabo kiiska waqtiga ay ku qaadato macnaha ay qaadato in laga jawaabo kiis dhammaantood kana waa first kana waxa weeye guud ahaanba iyo kuwa la xaliyey dee tira leeyahay 94%. halkan oo kale waxaa ku samaysan karta task management ama howlaha goortaas maalinta ku yaalo kale hawshaas la qabanaya hebel oo asingare hawshaas kale la qabanaya hebel oo asingare sidoo kale halkan waxaa ka dhigi kartaa kuwa aan la resolve garan la xallin oo kale maybe qofkii kiiska soo dirsaday oo kale baan la xiriirin oo kale laakiin waxaan oo dhan waa tusaale markasta productigaagu waxay ku xirnaanaysaa waxa ay ka jawaabayso oo ah maxaa baahiyaha taagan yihiin oo kale iyo si loo xallin karaa baahiyahaas oo kale marka si guud waa sidaas sida hadda idin sheegayo kale sessionkan waxay ahayd hordhac guud maadaama waqtigu kooban yahay wax badan kan sideedii ma aan tusin waayo waqtiga ay qaadanaysaa aad u dheeraan lahaa kale adigu goorta diyaarinaya aniga 5 saac oo kale u qaadatay maanta marka waa mahadsantihiin wixii su'aalaha kale waa ay weydiin kartaan linkiska applicationada aan isticmaalnay dhammaantood waxay ku jiraan presentationka meeshada dhammaadka ah waxaana idinla soo wadaagi doonaa Khalid iyo Julius aad baa mahadsantihiin marka waa gudbi karnaa online.
Thank you so much, Jamal. I think the very productive for the session and more interesting for the more technical for developing the product and applying the different programs. Please ask him any question or comment later in the session for closing the session. And you can ask in Somali or English. Yeah.
Mr. Khalid, can I go ahead? I wanted to ask the lecturer a question, if it's possible, the time allow you to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, all of you first. And after that, I wanted to thank for the lecturer, Mr. Jamal, for the time and the consideration. After that, I hope the session today was quite challenging and it's not possible to gather the information within one period. Could you please present to us the video, if it's possible, or maybe it had been recorded? And also, can we have the application? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the session is being recorded, not sure, but I think Khalid can confirm this.
Okay, we'll share it with you in the recording and the slides for the session.
Thank you. So I think For now, we will proceed to, because the time is pressing, I think we will proceed to the next slide. So we are at the end of this presentation, but I wanted to show 2 or 3 more pages. So if you can confirm that you can see my screen, then that will be helpful. Thank you. So here you can see that you do not have to be a software engineer, for example, or a programmer to build your product. And some of the most popular products in the world that's being used right now were developed by people who are not software engineers or who didn't know how to use code, but they knew how to solve problems. And that's the main important point. If you want to solve a problem, you do not using technology, you do not have to be an engineer. You need to have you need to be driven by your goals. So waxa way uma baahnid inaad noqotid software engineer si aad ama programmer ama coder si aad u develop garaysid fikradaada aad uga dhigtid prototype shaqaynaysa. Prototype-ka waa toolka aad arkaynay xoogaa yaro wax yaro technical ba markaa u muuqda, laakiin practice haddaa ku bixisid waxa way product shaqaynaysa iyaysan qurux badnaan haddii doonto, laakiin product shaqaynaysa oo aad gadi kartid way noqon kartaa. Kadib markaasaad waxaa raadsanaysaa ama cid kula partner garowda oo programmer ah ama cid aad lacag siisid oo programmer ah oo kaaga shaqaysa fikradaadii marka aad soo heshid cid ku maalgeliso oo kale. Waan sidaas badanaa waxa la sameeyey software-ada hadda adduunka ugu caansan. Mid yaroo hadda tusaale ah baan tusi doonaa waddadaasi soo martay. Marka hadda daan ku tusaale ahaan MVP ama most valuable product marka dhisisid inaad u baahnayn badanaa waxay dadku isticmaalaan program symbol oo kale sida HTML mid la dhaho ama CSS. wax kalena maahan waa midkan la isticmaalo interface-ka website-yada marka la dhisayo kale. Xataa mobile applications-ka iyaga laftigooda hadda loo isticmaalaa waqtigan modernka. Marka qofku kuwaas laftigooda session kale waa ka dhigan karnaa, ama waxa linkiska la idin soo diray ka mid noqon doonaan haddii aad rabtaan sii daba gashaan oo kale meesha ka raadsan kartaan. Application-kaaga MVP ama most valuable product-ga uma baahna inay features-ka dhan leedahay, laakiin waxay u baahan tahay feature-ka koowaad waa is leedahay cillad jirta ama challenge jirta buu xalinayaa taas inay dadka ka gadmi karto oo kale. Marka it doesn't have to have the full features, but it needs to address a basic issue that exists. So in our case, it's just mapping people and legal aid providers, for example. So if I can show you how one of the most popular applications that all of us know started, you will see that they didn't have backgrounds coding, but they used the internet to learn coding. But before learning coding, they knew how to what they wanted to achieve. So, for example, this guy is called Kevin. He's the person who founded Instagram, and you know that Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion and shares in early 2010s. I think it was 2012 or 2011. And the guy who developed it learned to code at night after work. So when he leaves his work, he went to his computer and then learned how to make how to program. So this is free knowledge that's available on the internet. He built his application first, an Instagram product or prototype was built with HTML. It was called Barbon. And after that, he showed this to his friends. So he had 2-3 friends, maybe family members, and then he said, "Hey, I have developed this product, and waxaan rabaa inaan see u aragtaan." Marka maxay product ka caawinaysay Instagram u aragtaan hal cillad oo jirta way xalisaa. Taasna waxa weeye qofku inuu sawiradiisa share gareeyo. wax kale ma samayso, sawir ama video waqtigii dambe ay ku soo dareen, laakiin markii hore Instagram waxay ahayd sawir sidee asxaabtaada ula wadaagi kartaa. Waa hal challenge bay ka jawaabaysa. Wuu develop gareeyay kadib saaxiibadiisu tusay okay dhehen maybe fikraday ku soo kordhiyeen. Then he met with investors and at a part, so there are like these parties across the globe. I think there are part investor gathering in Nairobi, for example. I think there are investor gatherings in Hargeisa. I think there was this organization that was helping people develop their products and use it to invest with money. I think I've seen that one. So for example, this. And then he quit his job and received 500,000 in funding, and then went back to the old version. Then he developed his application further. I think we do not have time to explain all of this, but you will see it when we send the slides. But he started without coding, and then he sold it to Facebook for $1 billion. That's the success story. And he was not a programmer. He was, I think, a manager, a sales manager or something. So back to this testing, when we are testing our product, and there are 2 ways to test it, several ways, but I will take the first most popular testing method is 3. So user testing helps the product team capture the valuable input from the perspective of their customers. There are many ways to test the product with real users, but we will look into the most popular methods. So waxaa jirta qaabab kala duwan oo productka u tijaabin kartid. Marka ugu horeysa adiga ka bilaabanaysa aad tijaabinaya dabcan. Kadib asxaabtaada iyo dad as leedahay waa dadkii systemkan isticmaali lahaa waa la share gareynaysaa oo kooban oo kale tusaale ahaan. Qaabab kalena waa jiraan marka halkan aan ku arkaynaa kuwan kala soo socda. So user testing is one of the methods that's used to test a product. You select a small pool of early adopters. So early adopters waxaa la dhahaa dadku customerka ugu horeeya oo productka isticmaala. Waxayna noqon karaan asxaabtaada oo kale, Farxiye iyo Jama iyo Cali oo kale. Waa u diraysaa waxaad dhahaysaa productgan fiirsha maxay u isticmaali lahaydeen oo kale iyaga isticmaalaya. laga yaabo in qaar ka mid ah xataa cilad haysatay oo kale ama kiis u baahnaa in laga caawiyo kula soo samid karayaan. Marka waxa testiga ugu horeeya waa user testing baa la dhahaa. Maxay faa'iidaha leedahay? Waxa weeye it's easy to moderate, so you can send it to 10 people because you do not want to show your unfinished product to a lot of people, but you are confident enough to show it to your friends, for example, family members. But its drawbacks or cons that it's limited. You will receive limited feedback. The feedback you receive could be biased too. Waxa laga yaabaa inaysan sidii saxda ah kugu sheegin because saaxiibka ma ku dhahayo productka waa xun tahay waa fiican tahay ku dhahaya. Waxa laga yaabaa markii bias halka uu ku jiro kale. Laakiin si faa'iidada ay leedahayna waxa waa control kartaa kala cid application-kaaga arkaysa geesay u tijaabinayaan. qaabka labaad waxaa la dhahaa A/B testing. Okay, A/B testing is more challenging. It involves creating 2 interfaces. So let's say you have your blue interface, you have red interface, and then whenever people visit for example, use your product, you show randomly selected interface. So 50% of the people see interface A, and 50% see interface B. And then you see how people use these interfaces, how usable are these. And these are called conversions. So for example, in the case of our case submission form we have built earlier, we had like when the person fills the form and then clicks submit, that's called conversion because you capture the information and then you store it in your database. And so in variation A, 21% is converted, and variation B, then 38% is converted. Marka waxa weeye qofka waxa tusaysaa laba waji ama laba design. Designka koowaad waxa weeye waa midka buluuga oo kala ujeedaan. Marka qofka marka haddaan tusaale usoo qaadano prototype-ka hadday sameynay qofku wuxuu buuxinayaa form. Formku wartu buuxiyo waxa arkaysaa inta qof 50% oo kamid ah dadkii prototype-ka ama application-kaaga isticmaalay goortay A soo booqdeen 50% ay furteen B u furantay. kuwana automatic ahaan weeye marka systemka dhisay gareynaya ama go'aansanaya midka u furmaysa. So markasta wuxuu cabirayaa qofkii kan ku horeeyay isticmaalay hadduu A isticmaalay qofka ku xiga B u tusaya, haddii B arkay kan kale A u tusaya. Saas loo kala bedelayaa. kadibna mid kasta wuxuu fiilinayaa sida dadku isticmaaleen, sida challenging ugu ahayd oo kale. Dadka ma ku guuleysteen inay formkii buuxshaan. Hadda tusaale ahaan oo kale halkan sambalka aan kugu tusay buluuga waxaa isticmaalay 50%, laakiin se 21% baa ku guuleystay ama isticmaalkiisii u fududaaday kan kalena waa fiirisay 38% baa convert garoobay ama foomka soo buuxiyey marka waxay ku tusaysaa markaas inay dadku isticmaali karaan ama usability-ga variation B ay sahlan tahay marka A/B testing haddii aan soo koobo it's presenting two iterations to your product users and capturing the conversion rate of each iteration marka waxa laba nooc baa tusaysaa laba weji kasta sida dadku u isticmaaleen oo successkii ahaayeen baa qabanaysaa kadib goorta comparison soo samaysay hadda tusaale halkan nooga muuqdo kale waa garanaysaa midka guulaystay it's the one with the highest conversion so faa'idada ku jirta waxa weeye less bias it's being used by real users the user is representing your actual customers marka horta waa customerskaaga caadiga isticmaalayay dad aad taqani hebel u garanaysid maaha and the drawback is that you are building two products so product A and product B so it's time consuming to develop so faa'idadaasna waa leedahay faa'iido darradaasna waa leedahay qaabka saddexaad oo userska loo applicationka loo test garan karo waa inaad survey-ga caadiga samaysid we all know how to do surveys waa form baa samaynaysaa questionnaire diyaarinaysaa focus group discussion baa samaynaysaa and then you collect the feedback from these people another way to conduct user testing is using the traditional research methods such as questionnaires and focus group discussions you capture their feedback and then you use this feedback to improve your product so the pros of this is that you decide which areas you want to test. Maybe you do not want to test all the areas of your application because you do not have a lot of time, but you want like small features like the user submission form. So the drawback is it's the limited audience. Again, you select like a sample size that's like 10 people or so and collecting their feedback. So you could say this is biased. These people are not the actual representation of your potential customers, but again, you might suffer. So that's it. And anyway, waxaan jeclaan lahaa inaan kusoo koobo quote-kan waxa sameeyey ninkan waxa laga soo xigtay ninkan la dhaho Tim Berners-Lee waa ninka ninkii waxa uu sameeyey waxa la dhaho www ama webka internet ku jiray laakiin se wuxuu ku jiray wuxuu ahaa network weyn oo kombiyuutar weyn oo kuwan jaamacaday waxa isku xiriiraan laakiin internetkan maanta isticmaalno inaan website geli karno social media geli karno email diri karno oo wax kasta uu screenkaas browserka inta furno nooga soo baxayay ninkii ikhtiraacay baa waxa la dhahaa Tim Berners-Lee marka isaga wuxuu yiri the power of the web is in its universality it's universal access by everyone regardless of disability is an essential aspect so anybody can use the internet and accessibility gonna markasta waxa uu sida product developers so thank you and resource kan isticmaalnay hadda waa kuwan haddii aad product develop garaysid ku caawinaya GitHub oo kale GitHub wuxuu ka caawinayaa ina GitHub waa kan midigta xiga wuxuu ka caawinayaa ina software code management yaa la dhahaa marka waa social media oo coding ama programkaaga applicationkaaga markasta waxa uu in la update gareeyo dad kala duwan ba laga yaabaa inaga badanaa da Afrika jooga dad Hindiya jooga ama Kenya jooga oo kale ama meel kale jooga isku magaalo joogin baa waxa u dirsanaa inay productigeena develop gareeyaan dadka marka productigaaga codekiisii meeshii ay ku haysan lahaayeen computerka oo kale waxay ku shubayaan meel dad badan ka dhaxayso oo waxa weeye project management tool project management waxa kugu jira codekii applicationkaaga sidoo kalena waxa kugu jira dadkii taskiyadii taagnaa kale maybe halkan buttonka blue ka dhigo kala dhaxaysan meesha qofka WhatsApp ugu qori lahayd kale project management ga gelaysaa oo qoraysaa meeshii hadda cilada aragtida kale wuxuu leeyahay isaga laftigiisu support wuxuu leeyahay issue tracking so kam suuqada kale applicationka mobile-ka si fiican uga soo baxayso kale issue-ga qoraysaa kadib dadkii teamkaagii engineerada ahaa baa halka galaya way update gareeyeen GitHub baa la dhahaa Figma waa kan hadda isticmaalaynay waa prototyping tool weeye Unsplash waxa weeye haddii aad u baahan tahay waa aragti badanaa goorta aan wax samaynayno product you need a lot of pictures photos and you do not have to take your camera to the city and then take the pictures of everyone. You need permissions, for example. But Unsplash has free to use images from any races, whether it's white people, Africans, Asians, any demographic you want. And they are free to use for your product. For example, if you want to use for advertisement, it's free. And Tailwind CSS, it's just use it to code your application. So it's a simple tool that you can use to build your application and make it work in prototype without spending a lot of time coding it. So this we will share the links as well, but that's it. I think here we can wrap this session. We can wrap it up. So any questions you have or anything that you want me to clarify, then you are welcome.
Thank you, Jamal. Yeah. Any comment or question?
Jamal, I have no question at this time, but I appreciate you for your lecture, for your time. aad baan kugu mahad celinayaa Jamaal sida fiican aad noogu soo jeedisay cashar aad u qiimo badan buu ahaa runtii wax badanna waanu ka fahnay aad baad u mahadsan tahay waqtigaaga iyo soo jeedintaada iyo soo diyaarintaadaba aad baad waan ku mahad celinayaa insha allah
ومahadsantahay mukhtaar marka waxay la tahay su'aalo ma jiraan waxaan jeclaan lahaa inaan intaan kusoo gabagabeeyo wixii dheeri ah oo haddii ay yihiin su'aalo hadhow gadaal idinkaga dhalan karo oo kale kulli khaalid waa usoo diri kartaan kadibna isaga lasoo wadaagi doonaa sidoo kale same for you can send to Julius as well. Both of them have my contact and they will share it with me. So thank you very much and thank you for your time. And also I would like to apologize and there is little delay because the internet here sounded wait long for 30 or so minutes, but it was stressful, but thankfully it came back.
Okay, thank you, Jamal. Thank you for taking us through this session. I'm not sure if there are any questions before we release Jamal. You can ask them on the chat. You can ask them verbally. You can use the language you're comfortable with. I believe we understand all languages here. I know it has been a packed session and maybe you need time to go over the slides. So we will also be open to answer. We are open to answering the questions later on after you've reflected and you've thought about it. But if you have a pressing question, this is the opportunity to raise it. Anyone, just unmute your microphone and speak.
Hello, everyone. I don't think I have a question for teacher Jamal, and I think I have a question for Mr. Khalid, if you don't mind.
Yes, please ask.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I needed to know more about the site code of the content from that we should have tried for the team list? Is it a letter for us to say in what's our product and our team list? And I didn't understand it more. I think you need um, more like to understand me, guys.
Okay, we will reach out to you and assist you with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there being no other questions, I believe we can close this session. Thank you very much, Jamal. Despite the challenges, you managed to come and give a presentation, which I believe has been really instrumental in the way we look at this topic, and will be helpful as we proceed to build our prototypes and even as we move on to the next masterclass tomorrow. So thank you very much. Thank you guys for being patient, also for waiting for us to deliver this session to you. It's been a pleasure. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow and thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.